Advisory and Adjustment Committee meeting being held on Monday, October 27th in the council chambers. In the absence of our chair, Gary Severin, I, as the vice chair, will be chairing this particular meeting. First of all, there is the land acknowledgement statement. As we gather today, I would respectfully acknowledge on behalf of council and the community that the city of Pembroke resides on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. It is with this statement that we honor and respect the Algonquins on whose land we reside. I call this meeting to order. First item is the approval of the agenda. Any comments or additions or deletions? Not. Looking for a motion. Moved by Ian, seconded by Marie-Josée. All in favor? Carried. You have received the minutes of August 26th meeting. Were there any errors or omissions? Any comments? If not, looking for approval. Marie-Josée, seconded by Ian. All in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Any items on the agenda which you have to declare a conflict of interest? If not, then we'll carry on to new business. The first item on the new business is the property at 1106 Bronx Street and 1110 Bronx Street. And it's a consent to sever and zoning bylaw amendment application. And I would ask the planner for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our applicant for this application, Brittany Cleland, has submitted a site plan proposing the severance of a new lot for residential development, being 1106 Bronx Street, from the existing lot of 1110 Bronx Street. So the existing property is currently zoned residential type 2 R2 by the zoning bylaw, and currently a single detached dwelling exists on the property. Under the proposed severance, the proposed retained lot and the proposed severed lot would have the exact same dimensions, mirroring each other. These dimensions are a frontage of approximately 33 feet, a depth of approximately 124 feet, and an approximate lot area of 4,092 square feet. So the proposed severance would result in a minimum lot area deficiency of 908 square feet, short of the required 5,000, a minimum lot frontage deficiency of 17 feet, short of the required 50, and hence the requirement for a zoning bylaw amendment with site-specific reliefs being granted for both the proposed retained and the proposed severed lot from standard R2 zone provisions. Under Ms. Cleland's proposal, the existing single detached dwelling on the existing lot, it would remain on the proposed retained lot. No new setback deficiencies would be created for this building by the proposed severance. On her proposed site plan, a new single detached dwelling with an accessory dwelling unit is proposed for the severed lot. This use is permitted both by the existing standard R2 zoning, and it would be as well under the proposed R238 zoning. The submitted site plan shows all applicable setback requirements of the zoning bylaw being met for this proposed building. Regarding parking, the zoning bylaw requires 2 spaces per dwelling unit for single detached dwellings and 1 space per dwelling unit for accessory dwellings, meaning that we would need a total of 3 parking spaces for the proposed development on the proposed severed lot. Ms. Cleland's site plan shows this requirement being met with a single parking space being accommodated in an attached garage and 2 spaces shown in a 24-foot wide driveway. Now, while the number of required parking spaces for both lots are shown as being met, further site-specific relief is required to allow for the proposed 24-foot driveways. Based on the proposed frontages of 33 feet for each lot, a maximum of a 10-foot wide driveway would be permitted by default for each property. This means that relief of 14 feet is required to be granted for each of the proposed driveways. This relief being granted will, of course, allow for the required number of parking spaces to be accommodated on lot. The proposed R238 zoning would apply to both the proposed severed and the proposed retained lot. This zoning will have the permitted uses of the standard R2 zoning, along with the aforementioned site-specific relief being granted, again, for minimums, lot area, lot frontage, and for driveway width requirements. Regarding the official plan, the property, both the proposed and severed, are designated as residential by Schedule A of the official plan. Regarding this designation, the proposed severance and the zoning bylaw amendment applications for the properties will absolutely support the residential aims of the official plan by allowing for residential infill and intensification in a built-up area of the city with existing infrastructure to accommodate future residential development. Further, under the residential aims of the official plan, we aim to promote efficient and pleasant residential environments and neighborhoods that include facilities such as schools, parks, shopping facilities. And within a 1 kilometer radius of the properties are Jean Lajoie Elementary and Secondary School, Riverside Park, Kiwanis Walkway, Algonquin Trail, and highway commercial businesses of the West End Mall and of the Pembroke Street West Strip. Under Schedule B of the official plan, both Bronx Street and Douglas Street, which the properties are located on the corner of, are both designated local roads. That said, the properties are within 50 meters of Pembroke Street West, the city's sole arterial road, according to the official plan. As such, this location will provide for prime vehicular transportation links throughout the city via Pembroke Street West's connections to collector and local roads. Regarding pedestrians and sidewalks, the local roads in the neighborhood of the properties, they meet the official plan's standards of having sidewalks on at least one side of a local road. And as such, these sidewalks, they make for easy pedestrian access to, again, the amenities of the West End Mall and of the highway commercial strip of Pembroke Street West. Both the official plan as well as the provincial policy statement emphasize that residential development should occur where existing servicing is already located. So the existing single detached dwelling on the proposed retained lot is currently fully serviced. The same servicing would be available for the proposed severed lot. The requirement of a building permit for any development on the proposed severed lot will trigger the approval of the operations department to ensure adequate servicing capacity. And regarding the current provincial planning statement, as these applications will support proposed residential intensification within a previously developed area, introducing new housing options and resulting in a net increase in residential units, these applications are absolutely in keeping with the provincial planning statement. A 5% parkland dedication fee will be required to be paid as per the Planning Act for the proposed severed lot. Another condition of the severance that the planning department is recommending is that a registered plan of survey depicting the severed lands be supplied to the secretary treasurer of this committee. And so the planning department is recommending, subject to conditions, that these applications be approved by this committee.
Thank you very much, Owen. Any concerns, communications concerning this application?
Mr. Chair, we've received none at all. No,
Okay.
No submissions nor informational inquiries.
Okay, thank you. And is the applicant available virtually or?
Ms. Cleland is present via Zoom. Hi, Brittany.
Do you have any comments or
So-
any additions?
Sorry, Brittany, I think you're on mute.
I just unmuted myself. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened with my computer during that time. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Go ahead.
So I am Brittany. I'm sure you recognize me. I've been here a couple of times. So I just want to quickly elaborate a little bit more on Owen's opening. So I'm looking to sever my existing property into 2 equal residential lots to build a single detached home with an accessory dwelling unit. I feel my proposal aligns with Pembroke's official plan objectives for efficient land use, affordability, and gentle residential infill. By creating a new residential lot, we support increased housing choice and density, small scale development, multi-generational living opportunities, which I know is very important, along with the primary focus of remaining compatible with the existing character of the neighborhood. If there's any questions you might have, I'd love to answer them, and I really appreciate your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Any questions from members of the board? Councillor Ian.
Brittany, is there currently a driveway onto Bronx Street, or do you currently use a driveway off of Douglas Street for 1110?
Yeah, so 1110 does have an existing driveway off of Bronx, and there is an actual driveway on Douglas as well. When I purchased the home, that was the driveway being used. I don't know why it changed. I don't know what the reasoning was for, but there is an existing driveway.
So, I guess I have a number of concerns about this one. Number one, that's placing a lot of driveway basically almost on a corner, and a not unbusy corner. I mean, Bronx Street gets a significant amount of traffic. It runs right into the West End Mall parking lot, and Douglas as well sort of catches a lot of Lee Street coming down, Cecil boundary. And so I kind of prefer that the driveway was set back onto Douglas. And when I see this, it's a lot of driveway right on the corner of Bronx Street. In terms of infill, I do get that the province is asking us to infill, and I think I've heard former councillor Levisser say that, you know, a lot of these we would have never granted back in the 90s and 2000s. But I mean, when they say infill, like, I guess my question is, at what point? I mean, this is probably the most shoved in infill that we've seen in our 3 years of doing this term. 4 feet on either side. Almost the entire front yard is going to be a driveway. I mean, I get infill, but this is like, I mean, we're cramming something in. This is like shoehorned in. And I'm not sure that, you know, maybe in Toronto, where I think they've built buildings in Toronto that I think are only 10 feet wide and whatnot. But we in Pembroke, I mean, we have more space. We do have vacant lots. We have entire subdivisions. This almost seems to me like, if it were in Toronto, I would say, well, there's no other space. But as of right now, I got a hard time swallowing this one for 2 33-foot lots, almost entirely driveway at the front, 4 feet on each side of the new house. I mean, I'll wait to hear from other people, but at the moment, this one's, I don't know, I think it's crossed my line of infill to impossible, but I'll hold this, hear what others have to say.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Did you have a reply to the concern just expressed?
I understand. I think I do think that we can continue to use the driveway on Douglas. I don't think that that's obviously an issue. I get it. I mean, I've driven around Pembroke. I've seen what people have kind of shoved onto lots, or what they've done with their front yards. I understand the frontage wanting to make the driveway width the way that we're asking, but it's no different than most of the driveways I've seen where people are parking cars and machinery and stuff on their front lawns. I mean, we can also work with the planning department on making sure that the house, you know, is filling when it needs to on the existing lot, but maybe not overdoing it. I mean, I know, and I get it from a small town perspective. It's a lot, but I know I've seen other stuff that is a little bit over towering, which we're not looking to do. But there are other lots I've seen in the bylaw as well that are 25 footers, like 25-foot frontage. So I mean, I still think 33 is reasonably wide for what we would like to do. And again, like I would work with the planning department on making sure that everyone, with the provisions given to us, we could make something look well and nice enough and cohesive with the street and not potentially fill the entire lot.
Thank you very much. Marie-Josée?
Thank you. Thank you, Brittany, for your comments. I am in support of your application. I've lived in one of those houses in Toronto that's 10 feet wide with a with a 5 feet driveway. I don't think that's an issue. I think intensification of land use within the bounds of the city is important. And we might be a small municipality, but we still need I still think that we should not grow outside the bounds of the current footprint of the city. And I'd rather have a driveway than parking on the street. So for this reason, I don't know if Mr.
Thank you very much.
Anyways,
Marcel?
that's it.
Oh,
Of course.
Marcel, any comments?
As far as the infill, Mr. Chair, I don't see a problem with it. If you drive down my street, my God, they've paved the whole bloody front yards.
I know.
And they're 33, 35-foot lots. There's no grass left on some of them. It's not the same type of housing, mind you, but still, regardless of the fact, Matheson and Angus Campbell Drive are fairly busy and they're full. I don't see a problem, Mr. Chair. Based on that, I will move that we accept the proposal and allow the planning department to allow Mr. Hutton to continue with the severance and zoning application as described.
Okay, we've
Thank
got a mover looking for a seconder.
I can
Seconded
second.
by Marie-Josée. Further comments? I'm going to comment a bit. I'm in sympathy with the comments that Councillor Ian has brought forth, but I recognize that the provincial planning statement 2024 is really telling us in the small communities, you've got a lot of open space, you better start filling it. It's the most efficient way to provide services which are already available. And I'm uncomfortable with the 33-foot frontage. I'm uncomfortable with the 10-foot driveway. But I recognize that this is a coming thing, big city stuff. And when I spoke to a planner that's involved with the subdivision immediately east of the city, and I hear that we're looking at 35-foot frontages and 40-foot frontages in that 100-home subdivision, I'm saying to myself, whether we like it or not, we can kick all we want, but we're being pulled into a situation where we have to allow this kind of infilling. And I have two things. I mean, I have a good planning background. I always did slight T intersections because they're a problem. They can be a major problem. I also have a concern with a lot of driveways around corners, around four-way stops and four-ways. And so very reluctantly, I think maybe I'm holding my nose on this one, but I kind of feel that I have to support the application and we'll let City Council decide just if it goes that way. Because I made a comment, I will allow anybody on the planning board to comment on that. If not, we'll put the question. Yes.
Is there anything we can do about the driveway situation? Like more so the retained one that would be practically right on the corner?
So through you, Mr. Chair, Councillor, the two driveways are permitted by default on corner lots. Regarding the width of the proposed driveway on Bronx Street, Ms. Cleland is showing it on the side of the property that is farthest away from the corner. And it does it does mirror the driveway on the severed lot. So, yeah, the two are permitted by default on a corner lot. And she could,
But
Ms.
that close to the corner?
there is no setback requirement by the zoning bylaw for driveways from the lot line or the corner. So Ms. Clellan could have placed the driveway almost immediately on the corner, on the side of the property that would be right up against the corner, but she has placed it furthest away.
Any comments, further comments from members of the board? If not, we'll put the question, and the motion is quite clear. We accept the planning department's recommendation with all of the inclusion. All in favor? Oppose? Please note in the minutes that the chair voted in favor of. Okay, thank you very much. I think that Brittany Clellan, this will come before the Planning Committee of City Council, which is on November 4th at 6 o'clock. You have three choices. You can attend personally, or you can attend virtually, or you can not bother showing up, which I wouldn't advise.
I'll be there in person.
So anyways, it'll be taken up by the City Council on November 4th at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going on to the second item on the agenda, which is has to do with a property at 422 Maple Avenue and 222 Dixon Street. I will ask the planning department to present the application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So our applicant in this case, Mr. Edward Fick of the Masonic Temple Corporation of Pembroke and District, has submitted a site plan requesting consent to sever a vacant portion of his existing property at 222 Dixon Street for this proposed severed portion to be sold as a separate lot for future residential development. An application for a zoning bylaw amendment for the proposed severed lot and the proposed retained lot has also been submitted. The existing property of 222 Dixon Street is currently zoned institutional by the zoning bylaw. The current use of the existing building on the property as a Masonic lodge meets the zoning bylaw's definition of a place of assembly, which is a permitted use under the existing I zoning. The proposed retained lot, which is and would continue to be known as 222 Dixon Street, would have a frontage of approximately 156 feet, a depth of approximately 132 feet, and an approximate lot area of 20,592 square feet. The proposed retained lot greatly exceeds all applicable provisions of its current I zoning. However, the Masonic Lodge would like the option of adding up to 2 dwelling units within the existing building. As these dwelling units are not a permitted use under the standard I zoning, the proposed institutional -6 zoning is required to grant site-specific relief for 2 dwelling units within the existing building. The proposed severed lot, which would be known as 422 Maple Street, would have a frontage of approximately 66 feet, a depth of approximately 128 feet, and an approximate lot area of 8,448 square feet. A residential type 2 zoning, a standard R2 zoning, is being requested for the proposed severed lot under the zoning bylaw amendment portion of these applications. The proposed severed lot would meet and or exceed all applicable R2 provisions of the zoning bylaw. The proposed severed lot is currently vacant land, and it is the Masonic Lodge's intention that this property be sold again for future residential development. The proposed R2 zoning is highly compatible within the neighborhood, as surrounding the severed property, the neighborhood is almost entirely R2 zoning. Regarding parking, for the proposed retained lot, the existing large parking area of the Masonic Lodge will remain as is, unaffected by the proposed severance. By the zoning bylaws parking formula, we would require 3 parking spaces for the 2 apartment dwellings, in addition to 30 parking spaces for the existing place of assembly use, for a total of 33 required parking spaces. The existing parking area can accommodate a minimum of 36 parking spaces, a minimum, meaning that the zoning bylaws parking requirements are met and exceeded for the retained lot and the proposed zoning. For the proposed severed lot, parking requirements would be addressed at the development phase once a specific use is proposed, and standard parking requirements of the zoning bylaw would apply. The properties are designated by Schedule A of the official plan as residential. The proposed severance and the zoning bylaw amendment for these properties absolutely supports the aims of this designation of the official plan by allowing for residential infill, intensification, and the conversion of an existing building in the case of the Masonic Lodge portion in a built-up area of the city with existing infrastructure to accommodate future development. Regarding the neighborhood, within a 1 kilometer radius of the properties are Highview Public School, Champlain Discovery Public School, Our Lady of Lourdes Elementary School, Cathedral Catholic Elementary School, and Bishop Smith Catholic High School, Kinsman Park, Kinsman Pool, Pansy Patch Park, and Pembroke Waterfront Park, the Careforce Civic Complex, and downtown Pembroke and highway commercial businesses on Pembroke Street East. So the local roads in the neighborhood of 422 Maple Avenue and 222 Dixon Street meet the official plan's standard, meet and exceed the official plan's standard for sidewalks, with sidewalks generally being available on both sides of all local roads in the neighborhood, making for easy pedestrian access, again, to downtown Pembroke, as well as highway commercial businesses on Pembroke Street East. Both the official plan and the provincial planning statement emphasize that all residential development should be adequately serviced with existing municipal water and sewer services. The existing Masonic Lodge building is currently fully serviced, and the same servicing would be available to the proposed severed lot. The requirement of a building permit for any future development, whether that be the conversion of the apartments in the Masonic Lodge or any residential development on the severed lot, will trigger the approval of the operations department to ensure adequate servicing capacity. Regarding the provincial planning statement, as these applications support proposed residential intensification within a previously developed area, introducing new housing options and resulting in a net increase in residential units, these applications are absolutely in keeping with the provincial planning statement. A 5% part as a condition of severance, a 5% parkland dedication fee is required to be paid based on the value of the proposed severed lot, and a survey is required to be submitted to the city depicting the severed lands. So subject to these recommended conditions, the planning department is recommending the approval of these applications by this committee.
Thank you very much. Did we receive any communication for or against?
No communication, informational inquiries, nor submissions were received regarding this application.
Okay. I guess we have the Mr. Fick, you're here. You got any comments that you'd like to make on this or add to the planning report?
Not really. Oh, not really. Owen has covered pretty much everything.
Very good. I would ask Councillor Reed.
So to me, this is my version of infilling, where we're using an actual normal sized lot that is being unused by your institution. I think this, I'm sure there's a number of reasons for why you're doing this, but certainly it's going a great way to help with our current housing crisis. Not only are you potentially adding a residential lot, but as Owen said, you're looking at potentially adding residential units to your retained site as well. It meets all of the requirements. This for me is a no-brainer. It's a huge yes. And I think this is exactly the type of infilling that the city, like the city of Pembroke, should be doing. So I'd move that we accept the recommendations from the planning report.
Thank you very much. Other comments? Okay,
Nope.
looking for a motion,
I can,
moved by
I can-
Marie-José.
well, Ian moved the motion, I think, and I'm willing to,
Mr. Chair.
and I
Oh,
can
are you
second it.
moving? Oh, no.
I'm seconding the motion. Moved by Ian.
Oh, you moved it. Okay, thank you very much. I missed that. I don't know how. Looking for a seconder then. Marie-José, okay. Any further comments? I just want one little comment, and I really like when they say that in the provincial planning statement, it's an opportunity to introduce new housing options. And boy, this is one. This is a new housing option, and it's nice to see. Nice to see. Okay, I'll put the question to the board. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Same as I mentioned before, November 4th, it's at 6 o'clock. It's going before the planning committee of council, which is city council, to deal with it. So thank you very much.
I'll be here in person.
Okay, our next application, it deals with the property at 203 Isabella Street. It's a zoning bylaw amendment application. And I would ask the planning department to introduce the application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our applicant in this case, Mr. Ashraf Arif, has submitted a zoning bylaw amendment application to add a dwelling unit within the existing apartment building on his property at 203 Isabella Street. 203 Isabella Street is currently zoned a site-specific residential type 4-23 zoning. This zoning states that permitted uses shall be limited to a maximum 5-unit apartment building and 1 office, or a maximum of a 6-unit apartment building with no office permitted. Currently, the apartment building at 203 Isabella Street contains 6 apartment dwellings in line with the current site-specific zoning limitations. Mr. Arif would like to add an additional 7th apartment dwelling to this building. That is the trigger for the requirement of a zoning bylaw amendment. So the proposed R4-39 zoning is required to remove the current limit on the number of dwelling units on the property. This site-specific zoning, rather than relying on a site-specific limit to control the number of dwellings permitted on the property, this zoning will rely on standard zone provisions and standard parking requirements to more organically limit the number of dwelling units to a number that the property can naturally accommodate. The sole items that will be carried over from the existing zoning are the site-specific setback relief for the existing building. The proposed zoning is extremely compatible within the neighborhood. 203 Isabella Street exists at a transition point where largely R2 zoning to the west changes to largely institutional zoning to the east, and the existing apartment building on the property is of a modest size on a large lot, and this building footprint would not be changed with the addition of the proposed dwelling unit. The modest sized apartment building on the large lot in an R4 zone provides for a gentle transition from residential zoning to institutional zoning and vice versa. Regarding parking, the zoning bylaw requires 1.5 parking spaces per dwelling unit for apartment dwellings, meaning that a total of 11 parking spaces would be the standard requirement for a building containing 7 dwelling units. On the submitted site plan that was taken from the previous zoning bylaw amendment on file for this property from 2011, 11 standard parking spaces are shown to be accommodated in the existing parking area on the property. And so this requirement of the zoning bylaw is met. Regarding the official plan, Schedule A of the official plan designates the property residential. And the proposed zoning is absolutely in keeping with this designation of the official plan, as it will allow for residential intensification and the conversion of an existing building in an already built up area with planned infrastructure. Regarding the neighborhood, within a 1 kilometer radius of the property are downtown Pembroke, Cathedral Catholic Elementary School, Highview Public School, Bishop Smith Catholic High School. And for parkland, Pembroke Waterfront Park, Pembroke Memorial Center, Kiwanis Way Waterfront Trail, Algonquin Trail, Pansy Patch Park, and Rotary Park. The property is located within 2 blocks or 150 meters of Pembroke Street West, the city's sole arterial road. As such, this location provides prime vehicular transportation links throughout the city via Pembroke Street's connections to collector and local roads. Regarding pedestrians and sidewalks, the local roads in the neighborhood of the property far exceed the standard requirement of 1 sidewalk per side of the road, with sidewalks being available on both sides of the roads, making for easy pedestrian access to the downtown core and other environs. The official plan and the provincial planning statement both emphasize that any residential development be on municipal water and sewer services where they already exist. The existing apartment building on the property is currently fully serviced, and the requirement of a building permit for the proposed additional unit will trigger the approval of the operations department to ensure adequate servicing capacity. Regarding the provincial planning statement, as this application proposes residential intensification within a previously developed area, which introduces new housing options and results in a net increase in residential units, it is absolutely in keeping with the current PPS. And so the planning department is recommending the approval of this application for 203 Isabella Street.
Thank you very much. Did we receive any correspondence concerning for or against this application?
No informational inquiries nor submissions were received, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I guess we have them virtually, Mr. Arif, is it? I pronounced that
Hello,
properly. Yeah.
My name is Gabriela, and this is Vinicius. We work with Ashraf, and unfortunately, he's out of the country right now. He's in China. So we are here to answer any questions that you might have about this.
Okay, members of the board, anyone have any questions regarding this application? Marie-Josée?
My question is not necessarily about the application itself as the site-specific zoning bylaw. I see the date. I must have been a member of the committee, but I cannot remember why. Anyway, I just would like a little bit of context on the current zoning that had a maximum of 5 units in an office or 6 units. Can you provide it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of insight.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I think I see where the confusion is. What I referred to that it's the current zoning is site specifically zoned by zoning bylaw 2020-05. You were a member of the committee at the time, Ms. Levesque, but this zoning was actually put in place by a previous zoning bylaw amendment in 2011, and it was simply carried over into the current comprehensive zoning bylaw. So you were not actually a member of the committee when the site-specific zoning was originally passed.
Okay, thank you. No, I do have a quick question to the developer on just generally, how do you plan to add a unit to this building?
So the basement of the building used to be a huge 3-bedroom apartment. And there was no look for it. People were not interested in such a huge apartment. So the plan was to convert it into a 2-bedroom apartment and a 1-bedroom apartment to improve the rentability of the building.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Ian.
I'm a little surprised that nobody was looking for a 3-bedroom because I think I've seen on Facebook a lot of people looking, but I'm not going to tell you how to run your apartment building, especially when I think adding an apartment is greatly necessary in our area. Obviously, we have the college. We have a lot of our military members who are single are looking for smaller apartments. I think we face we face an interesting thing where I think our local area is both hurting from a housing shortage, but also an apartment shortage. And sometimes I think that the apartment shortage might actually be worse for us than the housing shortage. So I'm greatly in favor of this. I think this is an excellent idea on your part. And I know Ash and Center Capital has invested a lot of effort and a lot of money in the city of Pembroke, and certainly I thank you for that. And adding, it might only be one more unit, but for one person, that's, you know, that's a house, that's a roof over their head. So I'd be happy to support this. I can't remember if Marie Jose made a motion. Well, then I'll move again that we
Okay,
accept the recommendations of the report.
looking for a seconder, Marcel. Any further comments? I'll put the question. All in favor? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for the effort of putting in and adding some accommodation in our community.
Thank you very much for taking a look into this for us today.
Thank
As you may be aware, we're only an advisory committee, and
Mhm.
this will be going before City Council's Planning Committee on November 4th at 6
Mhm.
o'clock. November
Okay.
4th at 6 o'clock. You may wish to be present virtually or present.
Mhm.
I think you know how to be present virtually, as you are doing that now. So you don't need any explanation. But if there are any
Okay.
questions, don't hesitate to call the planning department.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you very
perfect. I'll let Ashraf know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now we're at the fourth application from Brian DeCare regarding a consent to sever application at 954 McKay Street. I'll ask the planning department to please present that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Brian DeCare, has submitted a site plan proposing the severance of his existing property, which is currently known as 0 McKay Street, into two separate properties for future development. The existing property is currently zoned a standard general industrial M1 by the zoning bylaw. The property is currently vacant land. The proposed severed parcel, which would be known as 954 McKay Street, would have a frontage of approximately 487 feet and a regular depth of approximately 454 feet and an approximate area of 250,928 square feet. The proposed severed lot would maintain the M1 zoning. All M1 zone provisions for lots, including those minimums for lot area, lot frontage, and lot depth, are greatly exceeded, making this application absolutely in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The proposed retained lot, which would be known as 980 McKay Street, would have a frontage of approximately 478 feet and a regular depth of approximately 454 feet and an approximate lot area of 217,142 square feet. The proposed retained lot would also maintain its M1 zoning, and again, all M1 zone provisions for lots, including the aforementioned, are greatly exceeded. Again, making this application absolutely in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The operations department has commented that both the proposed severed lot and the proposed retained lot have existing easements for drainage. Several of the existing easements over the proposed retained lot may possibly be removed should a new 40-foot wide easement for drainage and sanitary sewer infrastructure over the proposed retained lot be granted. A small portion of the existing easement must remain over both proposed severed and proposed retained lots for its connection to the new 40-foot wide easement. Both proposed severed and proposed retained lots are designated industrial by Schedule A of the city's the city's official plan. This designation specifies that the predominant use of land in the areas so designated shall be for industrial uses. Certain other compatible uses are also permitted, including service industrial uses. As the proposed severance is for the purpose of creating an additional lot for future industrial development, this application is absolutely in keeping with this designation's direction in the official plan. Further, the official plan states that council will support the protection of existing employment areas. And for the purpose of this plan, that means those areas so designated as industrial and economic enterprise. This application meets this directive of the official plan as it maintains an existing employment area for both proposed severed and proposed retained lots. Regarding industrial objectives, the official plan lists developing and maintaining the industrial park to facilitate the successful operation of the industries that it accommodates, and ensuring that proposed improvements to local industries throughout the city generally enhance the areas in which they are located. This application meets these industrial objectives of the official plan by encouraging industrial growth with the future development of both proposed severed and proposed retained lots. While the portion of McKay Street along the subject property is designated as a local road by Schedule B of the official plan, in actual effect and practice, this portion of McKay Street provides a direct vehicular link to Pembroke Street East and Highway 148 via it becoming drive-in road at the Laurentian Valley border. As well, it provides connections to Highway 17 via the collector roads of Town Line Road and Paul Martin Drive. This places the location of both proposed severed and proposed retained lots, ideally in terms of shipping and receiving to and from outside of the city of Pembroke, helping make both of these lots desirable to industrial businesses. Regarding site plan control, the city's site plan control bylaw designates the entire city of Pembroke as a site plan control area. And the official plan states that site plan control shall apply to all development within the industrial area. As such, any future development on either of the proposed lots will be subject to site plan control. This, combined with the requirement of building permits for any future development, will ensure confirmed adequate servicing capacity from our operations department. Again, regarding servicing, both proposed severed and proposed retained lots abut existing municipal water and sanitary sewer services. So the directions of the official plan and the provincial planning statement that all future urban development be on adequate public services, these directives are met. Regarding the provincial planning statement, planning authorities shall promote economic development and competitiveness by providing for an appropriate mix and range of uses to meet long-term needs, identifying strategic sites for investment, and encouraging intensification of employment uses. As this application is creating an additional property to expand economic uses in an existing employment area, this application is consistent with the current provincial planning statement. As conditions of the severance, a 2% parkland dedication fee would be required to be paid to the city based on the value of the proposed severed lands, and a registered plan of survey depicting the severed lands would be required to be supplied to the Secretary Treasurer of this committee. Subject to these conditions, the planning department is recommending the approval of this consent to sever application for 954 McKay Street.
Thank you very much. Were there any interested parties commented on this application?
No informational inquiries nor submissions were received prior to the meeting, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. DeCare, I notice you're present. Is there anything you'd like to add to the comments of the planner?
No, it's a large parcel of land. Sorry, it's a large parcel of land. Tough to sell. And I bought it to develop it. Unfortunately, I got frustrated with that. And now I'm dividing it. I have interested parties for both parcels. So I'll see what comes of that.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board to Mr. DeCare? Yes, Councillor Ian.
Do we know what the part 8 is on the plan? I know the one going through the middle is a drainage ditch.
Yeah, it's not really there.
Okay.
There's a natural drainage, which I was not made aware of when I purchased the land, but I knew I had previous discussions with Brian Lewis prior to buying it about moving that drainage. I mean, it's visible. You can just drive by, you see it. It's been there since I think the 20s. And all of the east end of Pembroke drains down through that property. Or, you know, from when they built the school, I can't remember the name of the school, Champlain. That's when the water picked up quite a bit when that school was built. And then the subdivisions at Cedar and all that just kept adding it. And I actually worked for Haman Marcus when we put that in. We dug that ditch to make it deeper and through his land, which is now Safco. So anyway, that's that easement has to go into place so that I can sell off the and the Brian Lewis. With the last email that I had from Owen said that Brian Lewis was doing his homework and housekeeping on it. So once that's removed, and I'm hoping I might still be able to do it this fall. The engineering is done. I haven't submitted it yet because I have a few questions. It's a $25,000 drainage ditch. It's over 1,500 feet long. And it's to remove and it'll obviously increase the value of my property because I won't have a diagonal draining ditch running through the middle of it.
So that's when we're looking at basically having it follow the part 8
it's
up and around.
Yeah, it's diagonal. It goes right from Safco straight through the middle of the land, comes out on Corey Road. The city's, I think, well, I saw the surveyor guys there, so I assume we're going to open Corey Road in the next 32 months. It's been 11 years trying to get that open.
Well, and certainly, I mean, I'm glad to see this kind of development or potential development. Certainly we can.
Oh, the buyers that are looking at the land are professional, heavily financed operations, and they'll certainly satisfy. They'll only be using 25% of the land, so they'll be able to satisfy the city's site plan control.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what we were doing with the retained lot in terms of that drainage, but
yeah,
I thought that's why part 8 was created on the plan. So I would move that we accept it as recommended. I mean, there's certainly no reason not to. It's and if it means us getting 2 developments out of it, that's 2 more than we currently have.
The site plans from both. That's all buy in the real estate business, saying all buyers are liars. Because if I sold every piece of property that the guy told me he was gonna buy, I'd be living in penthouse in Vancouver.
Well, thank you for bringing this one to us, and certainly I'd move that we accept the recommendation.
Thank you very much. Important point about the easement. Anybody else questions? The only question I have is why is it 2% parkland fee and the others that we had were 5%?
So Mr. Chair, 2%, sorry, 5% is for residentially zoned lands under the Planning Act, and 2% is for basically any other lands, including industrial. So as these are industrial and the previous ones were residential, that's why there's a difference.
I wasn't trying to get you dinged for another 3%. I'm just trying to figure it out.
The tax rate for industrial land is the highest mill rate that the city has.
Yeah.
You get it that way.
Okay, we'll put the question. I'm looking for a mover to accept the application. Marcel, seconder.
No, Ian.
Oh, Ian moved it. You're seconding it. Ian, you have a fancy way of moving a motion. I keep missing it. Anyway.
I was wondering what's wrong here.
No further comments. All in favor?
It's the lawyer training.
Carry. Yeah, and this now doesn't go to council. This is it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but there is an appeal period. And do you want to explain the appeal period?
What, 14 days?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's 20 days. 20, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thank
It'll all
you.
be frozen by then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, any more applications? No? Well, we had a full menu tonight, eh? It's interesting. Yeah, anyways, past decision updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So from this committee's last meeting, 2 zoning bylaw amendment applications were heard and 1 consent to sever application for 1105 Bronx Street for the severance, 231 Cecilia Street and 350 International Drive for the zoning bylaw amendment applications. The zoning bylaw amendment applications moved to a public meeting of council and were further passed as bylaw by council, and both have passed their 20-day appeal periods and are now considered final. The consent to sever application passed its 20-day appeal period, and that provisional consent is considered final.
Good. Any questions or queries from members of the board? Okay, and our next meeting is on Monday, November 24th. And it looks like we have one. I think there's an application in. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Marie Jose, seconded by Ian. All in favor, carried. Well, that was an interesting evening.